Always a fun exercise. Coast to coast, this will be debated. And let's start right where it matters the most, the center ice position. And right at the top, Connor McDavid. His time to shine on the international stage. How long have we waited for that opportunity to see McDavid with the other best Canadian players, Crosby and McKinnon included? And you start to consider McDavid on that stage. The Olympics are about the best athletes performing on the biggest stage, the brightest lights. And McDavid never disappoints, and there's no reason to believe that he would disappoint here.
McDavid makes a move, tucks it home for the equalizer.
Backed up by Nathan MacKinnon, arguably an exciting player in his own right and a real difference maker. We look to the third line center, Sidney Crosby. Can you imagine I'm calling Sidney Crosby a third line center? Well, that's what happens when you have McDavid and McKinnon in their prime right now. But let's be very clear here. Sidney Crosby's birth certificate doesn't matter. He's playing at MVP level, shows no signs of any drop-off in any area of his game. So when you start to think about McDavid, McKinnon, and then certainly what Sidney Crosby delivers to this team, beyond impressive. We're talking about franchise players, difference makers that have performed in significant ways. And you look even just behind Sidney Crosby, the next future superstar in Connor Bedard. That's a 1-4 center ice that is really impressive. And just to try to clear away any type of notion about who the captain is, it's 87. It's Sidney Crosby. He is no question the leader of this team, and he will be wearing the C for Canada in the 2026 Olympics.
Sidney Crosby fires it past the corn.
Those centers are great. They can lift teams to great heights. And when you look at the wingers, really good wingers, really good, strong wingers. And what the centers will do for them is exactly what they'll do for the team. Lift them to great heights.
Reinhart shooting, scoring.
Well, the strength of Team Canada is clearly in the center ice position. And now when we switch to a critically important position, net minding, that certainly could be considered a weakness and at the very least a real significant concern. I have Adin Hill in the starter's position. That doesn't mean Jordan Binnington doesn't deserve a lot of consideration in that spot. They both won Stanley Cups. Yes, their record is on the international stage is not one that you would like to have going into such a significant event as the Olympics, but they've both shown that they can win when it matters most. And that's going to be critically important. The spotlight will be so bright, the heat will be so hot, like it always is when you're a goaltender wearing the maple leaf at any significant event. And that is an answer that only the goaltenders will be able to provide. This is the best that Canada has, and certainly when we look at past goaltenders, certainly an area where people can look at it and go, oh boy, could this be our undoing?
An absolute wide open net, and Adin Hill takes away a sure goal.
While there is certainly a changing of the guard on the blue line for Team Canada, and it should be fully expected. The last time there was a best on best for Team Canada was 10 years prior to the 2026 Olympics. So it falls to reason that there's going to be a whole host of new names on this, and that's exactly what we see here. Cale Makar is Canada's best defenseman. That's true today, and it'll be true 2 years from now. Of course, everyone who was on Canada's 2018 World Junior team is currently suspended by Hockey Canada. Assuming he's eligible, Makar is clearly this team's #1 defenseman in 2026.
Makar has it. Nice little sidestep, drags along the wall. Makar puts it up. Score! What a play by Cale Makar!
And Cale Makar is a game changer. Like the centers, the superstar centers on the blue line, Makar is all of that. And you look at somebody that every opponent's going to have to pay attention to, Makar is that guy. But when we look at the other defensemen, yes, there's no Doughty, there's no Pietrangelo. Lots of success that those players contributed to Canada in previous best-on-best tourneys. But this is now a different time. A lot of years have passed since those players were linchpins to the success of Team Canada. But make no mistake about it, these are all really, really good defensemen. And in 2 years' time, there's no telling how much more they could elevate their game. I want Devon Toews playing with Makar. They're already partners. They're already knowing what one another can do. Noah Dobson is emerging as such an elite type defenseman, absolutely in the Norris Trophy conversation. Josh Morrissey with the Winnipeg Jets, a do-it-all. Whatever you need him to do, he can do. The Bushbomb, who doesn't need a big shot from the point on the power play? Evan Bouchard can do that. This is a really strong group of defenders, and if you want to be really good on the attack, you need defenders that can push that pace and get up there. Will also alleviate a little bit of the pressure and maybe the onus on the goaltenders. Because when you have a blue line like this that can skate, move, and make differences in the game offensively, that's a good place to be.
Lowry for Morrissey, fires, scores!
A whole country will be watching, as they always do when Canada's best compete at the Olympics. And best on best for the players is exciting. It's also exciting for everybody across Canada because it creates a variance of opinion, creates lots of debates. And when we talk about Canada at the Olympics and who could be on that team, there is no area where it's not up for debate and discussion, and that's great all in itself.